This year is undoubtedly one of the worst years in the history of the logistics industry in China, with many companies on the verge of bankruptcy. Why is that? Because the entire logistics industry is in chaos. The sluggish Chinese economy has affected the volume of goods, which is one reason. Another reason is the intense competition within the logistics industry, with companies fiercely undercutting each other on price. This aggressive price war is constantly stealing your customers, which is incredibly frustrating.
The man in the video has 20 years of experience in the logistics industry and is currently in charge of a logistics company in Guangdong province. He bluntly states that the market conditions in the logistics industry for 2024 are very bleak. Recently, logistics operators have revealed that business is tough. Truck drivers have also said that they're struggling with a lack of goods to transport. The man in the video is a truck driver. He posted saying,
Yesterday, I parked my truck by the roadside and slept in it. 2 more trucks came during the night, one driving empty from Fujian province and the other from Guangdong province. We gathered together and slept in our respective trucks. This morning, none of us found any cargo, so we all drove our empty trucks back home.
"Oh man, if I don't get any goods to transport soon, I'm going to rot in this truck. I've already been out of work for a day. It's really tough to get a job now. Even when I get to a place, I might have to wait 5 days just to find a load. The freight rates are so low now, and it's really getting me down. I'm not making any money. I haven't eaten all day and I'm about to pass out from hunger." This couple is currently in Guangxi and it's their 3rd day living in their truck, still unable to find suitable cargo.
I don't want to drive an empty truck back home, but reality has defeated me. I spent the whole day living and eating in the truck, still with no goods to transport. Another day of hauling nothing but air.
The truck driver in the video revealed that he had already lowered his prices to the minimum, but still couldn't find any cargo. He contacted his previous clients to see if they needed transport, but they responded that they were no longer in business because their company had gone bankrupt. Mr. Yang, a logistics operator in Henan province, stated that his company primarily transported bulk materials to relevant enterprises. But with many companies going bankrupt, they now only receive sporadic business, shrinking to less than 1/10 of their previous volume. They used to have at least 10 trucks hauling goods, each truck typically carrying around 100 tons. Now they have no vehicles because they can't afford to maintain them and had to disband the fleet. Mr. Yang disclosed that during the 3 years of the pandemic, road closures everywhere crippled China's logistics industry. Those who believed the lies of the Chinese Communist Party and expanded their investments have now lost everything and are heavily in debt. He said, "During the lockdown, my partner suggested that we should expand, but I said we should reduce our assets and not invest. Those who believed in the policies propagated by the authorities have been ruined. I regularly follow overseas news, and I know the situation is not optimistic." Public records show that Nanyang is a major city for the textile industry in Henan province, with almost 2,000 registered textile and clothing companies. Last July, Henan Xingye Textile Company, a leading cotton textile company, applied for restructuring because it couldn't repay its due debts. This state-owned company had previously been reported to be 7 months behind on wages. Mr. Yu is a resident of Xingye County in Henan province. He said, "Xingye County is a well-known textile city, but all the textile factories here have closed down. People from this area have gone to work in the south or in the Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Shanghai region. This small county town is almost deserted. China's Belt and Road Initiative has transferred money and resources abroad, leaving everyone here to fend for themselves." The difficulties faced by China's logistics industry have spread to large enterprises. SF Express, China's leading courier company, is burdened with debts of 100 billion yuan. As of the close of trading on July 3rd, SF Express's latest closing price on the Chinese A-shares market was 34.4 yuan per share, down 70% from its peak of 123.9 yuan per share in February 2021. Its market value has shrunk from over 5 billion yuan, or about $69 billion at its peak, to 166 billion yuan, or about $23 billion. According to Chinese media reports, facing unfavorable stock prices, SF Express has launched 4 rounds of buyback plans since March 2022, but these efforts have seemingly failed to revive its stock price. From the financial data, its prospectus shows that from 2021 to 2023, the company achieved revenues of about 207 billion, 267 billion, and 258 billion yuan, respectively. Profits during these periods were about 4.4 billion yuan yuan, 7.1 billion yuan, and 7.9 billion yuan respectively. But SF Express's performance seems to have disappointed the market. After releasing its first quarter report this year, two institutions downgraded their profit forecasts for SF Express. BOC Securities lowered its 2024 net profit forecast for SF Holdings from 11.1 billion yuan to 10.1 billion yuan, and Huachang Securities reduced its forecast from 9.7 billion yuan to 9.3 billion yuan. Additionally, its push for a Hong Kong stock listing may be related to its tight cash flow. The prospectus shows that from 2018 to 2023, SF Express debt has risen from 34.7 billion yuan to 118.2 billion yuan, with its debt-to-asset ratio increasing from 48% to 53%. The net value of its current assets also dropped sharply within a year, from 18 billion yuan in 2021 to 13 billion yuan in 2022. SF Express's rapidly increasing debt is due to its significant expenses in various areas. Since its listing, SF Express has been continuously expanding, which requires substantial capital. In 2017, after successfully listing on the A-shares market through a backdoor listing, SF Holdings conducted multiple rounds of refinancing, raising a total of over 33 billion yuan. By the end of 2022, SF Express has used about 23 billion yuan of the raised funds. The funds raised in 2019 were fully utilized. Only 2.8 billion yuan of the funds raised in 2021 remain unused. SF Holdings was established in 1993 and headquartered in Shenzhen, Guangdong Province. It operates SF Express, China's largest integrated logistics service provider, as well as SF Airlines, which handles its air transport operations, and is currently the largest cargo airline in China. Kuaijie Express, which started on the same footing as SF Express, had over 90,000 employees and more than 5,000 terminal outlets nationwide after operating for more than 20 years. But the company later faced a series of crises, including network shutdowns and project suspensions. It is reported that since the network shutdown, no senior executives from Kuaijie have come forward to clean up the mess, and there has been no news of employee wages or deposit refunds for the outlets being settled. Since the outbreak of the pandemic in China, many prominent courier brands have either collapsed or downsized their operations. Pinjun Express operated for over 6 years, with more than 3,000 standardized stations and over 30,000 employees at its peak. At the end of last year, VIP Shop announced the cessation of its Pinjun Express services. Rufengda Express operated for more than 10 years and once held a position comparable to JD Logistics. But as early as 2019, Rufengda suddenly announced a suspension of some of its operations. At that time, suppliers from Shanghai, Guangzhou, Hunan, and other places gathered at Rufengda's headquarters in Beijing to demand their unpaid dues. The headquarters, which could accommodate 100 to 200 employees, was already deserted. Apart from the people demanding wages, only piles of garbage and debris were left. According to multiple suppliers, Rufengda owed 45 million yuan in unpaid dues, and with employee wages included, there was a gap of nearly 70 million yuan. Guotong Express operated for 17 years, employing more than 50,000 people with tens of thousands of vehicles across its network. In 2019, the company issued a notice of suspension, stating that it was experiencing severe financial difficulties and operating at a significant loss. Subsequently, its courier operations halted, and employees were placed on indefinite leave. The downturn in China's logistics industry is closely linked to economic recession, making life very difficult for business owners. The decrease in business volume has had a direct impact on the logistics sector. An owner of a machinery factory in Keqiao district in Zhejiang province, Mr. Zhang, said that running a business is very challenging now. Making money is much harder than before, with profits plummeting by 70%. Mr. Zhang mentioned that due to the international environment and sanctions imposed on China by Western countries, foreign trade orders have decreased significantly, down by 50% compared to 7 or 8 years ago. The business situation for local manufacturers is generally poor, and the government has not provided any solutions. Currently, 70 to 80% of factories are struggling, with everyone barely holding on. If they give up, the situation would be disastrous, and people wouldn't even have food to eat. Keqiao, located in Shaoxing City, is an economically developed county-level administrative region. It was once ranked 5th among China's top 100 counties and 2nd in Zhejiang province in comprehensive competitiveness in 2010. The local economy primarily relied on light textiles and dyeing. Before the economic downturn, it was the largest fabric distribution center in Asia and the largest light textile trade center in the world, with daily customer traffic exceeding 100,000. Nowadays, even the busiest markets in the areas are deserted. Anyone who has been to Kechao will surely find this place familiar. This was once bustling North Market. Now it's desolate and you can't see a single person. Right before our eyes, we're witnessing a large number of business owners disappearing. In addition to light textiles and dyeing, the construction industry is also a pillar industry in Kechao. Currently, local housing prices have dropped significantly. Mr. Zhang said the prices for second-hand houses have definitely fallen by at least 30%. But there's no market. The prices are there, but there are no transactions. Nobody is buying houses now. Even if you want to sell, there are no buyers. This town, once one of the wealthiest in China, now faces declining living standards for its residents. As incomes decrease, prices continue to rise. Beyond Zhejiang, Mr. Hu, who has been in the logistics industry for 20 years in Xi'an, also says that the current economic downturn makes it difficult for the logistics industry to survive. A logistics business owner in Xi'an, Mr. Hu, said, "The performance has dropped significantly, I estimate by 50 to 60%. Mr. Hu originally owned a small fleet of trucks, but now he has lost everything. He said, "I had 7 or 8 trucks, each capable of carrying about 30 tons. Business is so bad that I couldn't afford to keep them running and ended up losing everything." Mr. Hu says he is not an isolated case, and the entire logistics industry is in dire straits. There is no business to be had, and the cost of maintaining trucks is high, leaving many drivers struggling to make ends meet. Mr. Li, who runs an appliance parts factory in Guangdong, said, "The economic situation is definitely not as good as it was before the pandemic. I used to run 2 shifts, but now I only run 1. You could say production has decreased by about 30 to 40%. Mr. Li's factory primarily sells parts domestically, and since there is still some demand in the home appliance industry, the situation is relatively better for him. But industries focused on foreign trade, real estate, and construction are severely impacted by China's overall economic downturn and are faring very poorly." Not only is the domestic logistics industry in China struggling, but with the reduction of overseas orders and increasing external uncertainties, the freight forwarding industry is also having a tough time. From coastal areas like Guangzhou and Zhejiang to inland regions like Henan, several freight forwarding companies have been involved in cases of embezzlement and fleeing. One such case that has garnered significant attention involves Zhejiang Xinheng International Freight Forwarding Company Limited. The company's head with funds, leaving many in the lurch. Allegedly, the company was taking goods at low prices and selling them at high prices, causing substantial losses to many cargo owners and fellow freight forwarders. Some containers were even seized in the United States, with goods worth billions of yuan. Following this incident, many affected cargo owners and freight forwarders demanded answers, but the company's head, Zhang Heng, had already disappeared, making the situation even more complex. Some cargo owners reported that after paying the shipping fee, they received ransom notices from other freight forwarders demanding additional high fees to release their goods, adding to their already dire predicament. It's reported that Zhejiang Xinheng International Freight Forwarding Company Limited was established in August 2021 with a registered capital of 10 million yuan. Its business scope includes international cargo transportation agency, road cargo transportation station operations, and maritime international cargo transportation agency, among other fields. This year has seen a significant number of freight forwarding companies absconding. In Zhengzhou, Henan, Taihang Logistics fled, leaving its headquarters deserted. All goods and vehicles vanished. Reports indicate that over 500 merchants suffered heavy losses due to this incident. In Shenzhen, Yunchuan International Freight Forwarding, which had been established for 8 years, announced its closure due to financial difficulties. An Amazon platform seller lamented, "2 of the freight forwarders I worked with this year have already run off." The phenomenon of companies absconding reflects the direct impact of reduced profits in the freight forwarding industry. E-commerce company Yuguo's 2024 Q1 cross-border e-commerce industry report reveals that in the first quarter of this year, 73% of small and medium-sized freight forwarding companies saw a decline in revenue compared to the same period last year. Among them, 26% experienced a revenue drop of more than 50%, while only 20% of these companies achieved revenue growth. According to Chi-Cha-Cha, a Chinese online platform that provides comprehensive information about businesses, 44,600 freight forwarding-related companies were deregistered or had their licenses revoked revoked in 2023, a 10.4% increase compared to 2022. Meanwhile, only 15,300 new freight forwarding-related companies were registered in the same year, a decrease of 11.2% year-on-year. With the economic outlook remaining bleak, incidents of unpaid wages are also becoming frequent. Recently, a logistics warehouse in Hebei experienced an employee strike over unpaid wages. Hundreds of employees gathered to protest, with some even kneeling and crying in anguish, demonstrating their intense emotions. One of the employees, Li Jie, had her wages withheld. She is a recent high school graduate who entered the company through a labor agency about a month ago, planning to save some money for college during her summer job. Unfortunately, not only did she not receive her salary, but she was also fired, ending up spending nearly 1,000 yuan of her own money on living expenses. Li Jie said that June 25th was supposed to be payday, but the salaries were not issued, leading to a strike by the employees. The next day, hundreds of employees were directly fired. On June 26th, hundreds of employees gathered in front of the company, chanting slogans to demand their wages and preventing the company from moving its goods. Li Jie said, "If the goods are taken away, we might not know who to ask for our money." The money and the goods would both be gone. The company brought in a large number of security guards who stood in a line in front of the company holding shields. In the afternoon, dozens of police officers arrived and set up a cordon. Li Jie stated that the employees stayed on site until early morning of June 27th. Finally, the company promised to pay the wages next week. Another female employee, Xu Fenghua, reported that on June 26th, the police pushed a pregnant woman, injuring her leg. Several leading employees were also arrested by the police at that time. According to Xu Fenghua, the issue of unpaid wages has been ongoing for a while. She joined the company at the end of August 2023. On the evening of December 20th, the company suddenly notified all employees to rescan their faces to log onto their personal profiles after work. On the 21st, the company was split into two parts. One group of employees remained with Dewu, while the other group transferred to Shandong Qisheng Development Cloud Warehouse. Xu Fenghua said, "The next day we were told that we no longer belong to Dewu, but to Qisheng Cloud Warehouse. Even our uniforms changed. Dewu employees wore blue vests, while we wore red vests." Dewu is an e-commerce platform that attracts many enthusiasts of sneakers, trendy products, and street culture. The products include sneakers, streetwear, and collectibles popular among young people. The company has logistics warehouses in Shanghai, Wuhan, Langfang, and other locations. It is understood that Dewu's Langfang warehouse is managed by Qisheng Development Cloud Warehouse Supply Chain Management in Hebei Province. The cloud warehouse recruits employees through several labor agencies to handle three logistics processes: receiving, inspecting, and dispatching goods. A representative from Cloud Warehouse stated that they had recruited 600 to 700 employees through labor agencies, and almost all of them faced delayed wage payments, but Dewu's formal employees did not experience any wage delays. The representative explained that there have been numerous conflicts between Cloud Warehouse and Dewu regarding business operations. Cloud Warehouse believes that the penalties imposed on employees were excessively harsh and had repeatedly appealed to Dewu without success. For instance, a new employee at Cloud Warehouse who had been working for just a week forgot to cut a button while processing goods. Dewu demanded that the employee pay the full original price as compensation. The employee earns 5,000 to 6,000 yuan a month, and they were fined 14,000 yuan in one go, which scared them into running away overnight. The economic disputes between the two companies have led to wage arrears. It is reported that some employees have not been paid for over 3 months, with amounts reaching tens of thousands of yuan. Analysts point out that from grassroots workers to blue-collar, white-collar, and even gold-collar employees, all have become victims of China's economic downturn. Incidents and extreme events caused by unemployment and salary cuts are rapidly increasing. This pressure can quickly translate into social instability, creating factors that contribute to social unrest.